The Chicago Midwest chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences presents the 2023 Silver Circle Honor Ceremony. You are about to meet the men and women who have thrived, excelled, and innovated as television professionals. More than 25 years of service to the television industry, significant contributions to Chicago broadcasting, excellence in television in front of the camera and behind the scenes. It's time to honor the best of the best. Our host for the evening, former NBC5 and CBS 2 anchor reporter, and 2022 Silver Circle honoree, Derek Blakely.
Meteorologist Andy Avalos spent his entire career helping us prepare to cope with Chicagoland's notoriously crazy and unpredictable weather, mostly in the early morning hours, while doing it in his own calm, warm, and reassuring way. Here to present Andy is his colleague and friend of many years, NBC5 anchor reporter, Alex Maragos.
Andy, everybody that you worked with at WLS, at WMAQ in that time, you treated them like family. You really cared. You showed it every day, at 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, it didn't matter. You're a true gentleman, so from your NBC5 family, congratulations.
From the time you wake up to the time you walk out the door, the weather can change.
Andy Avalos, bringing you the world of Chicago weather.
In a city of weather extremes, Andy Avalos brought consistency and calm to Chicago forecasts for close to 40 years. He was a warm presence viewers could trust, even on the city's coldest days.
You'll be shivering and quivering as you head out this morning because the winds have changed.
Spend any time around Andy, and you will feel his easygoing charm.
Just the wonderful, genuine, kindest person that you would ever meet.
Something he showed equally on and off the air.
What you saw on television was the same Andy that you saw in person.
Andy's just an incredibly passionate guy and cares about so many people.
That passion and care was first captured on camera in his native Colorado.
After I got out of the service, I knew I wanted to be in communications, radio, not necessarily television. One led to the other. Before I knew it, I was in front of a camera auditioning for a position, and shortly thereafter, I was doing a show called Super Show. The weatherman, who was the main host for the show, showed me how to put the weather together for him. Well, I got so good at it that eventually he got sick, and they said, you know, we're short somebody today, would you mind filling in? And I said, sure, I'd love to. And they said, on the air. I said, I don't know that I could do that. And he said, give it a try.
After early stops in Colorado Springs and Denver, Andy made the move to WLS in 1984.
Let's check up with Andy Avalos, who has an outlook for tomorrow morning's rush hour.
Looks pretty good. 2.5 inches of rain out of that last system in the last couple of days, but nothing like that on the horizon.
When Andy was hired, I was already working in weather. So I'm thinking, okay, who is this guy? And is he going to take my job?
But rivalry and competition wasn't Andy's style.
He was just so wonderful to work with. I mean, just kind and patient, wanting the best out of everyone that he was working alongside.
In 1994, Andy moved across the street to WMAQ. By then, technology was changing meteorology, but Andy's work ethic was constant.
Work ethic off the charts.
Andy broke the forecast down the old-fashioned way, so that's a good thing.
He loved to teach people weather. He understood weather, he understood the science, which he loved, but he really liked to help the viewers understand it too.
In 2003, Andy moved to mornings, starting a long stretch of getting up very early.
Andy was one of the hardest working people in that newsroom. He would get in, I think, by 1:30, if not sooner, and he was going the whole time.
Everything was done, down to the minute.
But in between those frequent forecasts, he found time for fun.
We don't think that we will ever see the light of day again.
Andy wanted coffee and wanted it now. His quest was followed by fury.
I think the morning team liked to put Andy in situations where maybe he was not quite comfortable.
Oh my gosh!
I'm going to go in as quickly as I can, and I'll just walk as far as I want.
Plunged for Special Olympics. Rang the bell for the Salvation Army.
Take a look at the camera. You can't get home if they can't see you.
And did everything but build an ark for animals in need.
Andy the man is an animal lover on a scale that none of us can understand. He has a zoo at his house. He's got parrots that will outlive him.
There's so many animals out there looking for their forever home. Just ask my friend, Mr. Winks. Here's one of our latest. She's an adoptee. This is Boo. Say hi, sweetheart. Now, not to be outdone is Pepper. Hi, Pepper. She's right here. This is our cat, Sage. One of 3. I don't know if the other 2 will find their way up here.
He had a mission to make sure that every animal gets adopted by a family, and he worked so hard over the years to make that happen.
A beloved friend and fixture in Chicago television. Congratulations, Andy, on all you've accomplished. Welcome to the Silver Circle.
So for now, it's Bow Wow.
And meow.
I'm going to try one of these. I don't have prepared remarks tonight because I didn't want to write something down in advance of the event, and I wanted to let the feelings that I was experiencing tonight allow me to convey the words that I wanted to share with you. And now I'm having a hard time finding those words. Appreciation comes to mind. Joy comes to mind. Sadness comes to mind, because I think that one of the questions I was asked tonight, since I'm now retired, is, do I miss work? And my answer was, I'm retired. No, I don't really miss work, but I'll tell you what I do miss is being part of something bigger than myself on a daily basis. Doesn't mean that my life isn't filled, it is. But when you go to work every single day and you work with your TV family, you miss them. And I miss all of you immensely.
In a moment, we'll induct children's programming creator Gail Sikevitz and photojournalist Mike Klingele into the Silver Circle.
Hey, it's me, your vacation. If you want me to be great, I need more than this. What I really need is Branson. This is Branson. Coasters, live shows, excitement. This is not Branson. Branson! Not Branson. Branson. Not Branson. Branson. Not Branson. Ooh, definitely Branson. Not even close to Branson. Ugh. Give me what I need, and I'll be the best vacation you've ever had.
Our next honoree is television writer, producer, and program executive Gail Sikevitz, who has received national acclaim for creating green screen adventures. With us tonight to introduce Gail is a writer, actor, puppeteer, green screen performer, and somebody who knows Gail very well. It's her daughter, Jessica Honor Carlton.
Throughout my childhood, there was this massive filing cabinet in her office filled with videos and scripts from all of her documentaries. And on top of that filing cabinet, it was just crammed with 7 Emmys and a bunch of other awards. They weren't displayed so people coming over would see them. They just sat there perched modestly on top of the work itself. And I feel like that really embodies Gail's philosophy. The awards are a wonderful cherry on top, but the stories that we tell are what really matter.
I'm gonna make you an offer you cannot possibly refuse.
Gail Sikevitz began her career producing TV commercials, but soon realized that she wanted her work to have more social value than promoting products like coffee, although it is her favorite beverage. She shifted her focus and was hired by Warner Saunders to produce the documentary series Channel to the People, hosted by Harry Porterfield.
Small talk at their breakfast table is more than just talk. For her son Paul, not quite 3 years old, is profoundly deaf.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna eat the eggs? Yeah, eat.
For Mary, having a deaf child is not an insurmountable problem, only a challenge.
Gail's deeply personal interview style focused on individuals to explore each topic. In dozens of episodes, their candor helped viewers identify with the issues.
It'll be 2 years ago, October 16th, that I landed in the hospital. And that I've been sober, which really blows my mind, because I didn't think I could.
I guess when they were drinking, I was scared.
Participants were an inspiration to others. Individuals like Sammy Scoble, who founded the American Blind Skiing Association and, while legally blind, is in the Roller Derby Hall of Fame. Some topics were sensitive then, and sadly, they still are today, half a century later.
The contribution that I make in terms of the work and who I am as a human being, I do not want to have discredited because I'm a lesbian, which is what many people in the society do.
What's that I see coming down the street?
As Edward R. Murrow said about television, this instrument can teach, but only to the extent that humans use it to those ends.
It's the good game.
Hi, I'm Warner Sanders, and boy, that jump was really exciting for me.
Gail was delighted to create a series of children's specials with Warner.
Mime's the word. When we try our hand at pretending, we'll even try our feet at imaginary skating.
Come on. Okay.
What is it to be human?
Gail moved to WMAQ to produce All the King's Horses and then became executive producer of programming.
The other day I was thinking about when you sit in the father's waiting room and the obstetrician comes in and says that you now have a bouncing baby boy or a bouncing baby girl, and the first words he brings to you are, "There's trouble." Everything just falls apart.
It's not as hard as you think because what you have to do is to grieve, and grieving is the process that lets you separate from the dream.
What Rebecca gives back to us most is this continuing question of what is it to be a human life? That simplicity of happiness and being able to accept love and indeed in her own way return it. Isn't that what life is all about?
Her work was honored with more than a dozen awards, including 7 Chicago Emmys and 2 DuPont Columbia Awards.
I want to thank Gail. I think that this is a very talented and creative woman, and her star has really just begun to rise.
After her daughter was born, Gail made a career shift, becoming an executive at the Dolores Cole Education Foundation, working with the Cole Children's Museum, Cole Teaching Awards, and Storybus.
Green Screen Adventure.
Using her 2 decades of experience in education, Gail then created and produced Green Screen Adventures at WCIU. This unique children's series promoted literacy by featuring the writing of elementary school students.
I was hoping that maybe you could write a story for me to read. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Their stories were adapted and performed by an ensemble of actors.
Did I do that?
The team honored their vision, whether silly or serious.
People are dying. Their families are crying. Your mother and father are wearing nice black suits. And maybe you are too.
Writing is very important. It's a way of getting many thoughts that are locked inside your mind out and onto paper.
Over 8 years, 434 episodes were produced, featuring stories written by more than 2,000 children.
According to Leah, it really warmed the wolf's heart. His heart turned into a good heart, and he truly became best friends with the chicken. Forever.
Will you help out to save our planet? 'Cause it's the only one we've got. Write your own poem about the Earth. Include a few things you can do to help save the Earth. Then turn your poem into a song.
The series received multiple awards, including 5 national Emmys, but most important were the responses by the children themselves. As one 3rd grader said, "Everybody was proud of me, but not as proud as I was of myself."
Oh, wow. Great ending, huh?
Congratulations to Gail Sikevitz, 2023 Silver Circle honoree.
I do want to begin by thanking Natus for this honor. It really means a great deal to be honored in this way. And first, I'm not good at this. I want to acknowledge the brave participants from all my documentaries, because really, I'm just too close to this. It's their courage and honesty that had an impact on viewers. For me, it was always a behind-the-scenes effort, finding the people, talking to those people and crafting their vital messages, because I think that's what we all need to do. I really don't do this all the time. Of course, we all know that TV is a team sport, and I'm so grateful to all of the talented people who I worked with over the years, and they did work tirelessly with me. Thank you.
Up next, we honor an outstanding photojournalist, CBS 2's Mike Klingele. Mike has received more than 20 Emmys during his spectacular career, and he is beloved for both his professionalism as well as his humility. Here to introduce Mike is his colleague, one of the city's finest investigative journalists, CBS 2's Dave Savini.
He's a professional who treats survivors with compassion and dignity as they relive some of their most emotional moments in their lives. Mike knows when to stand and hold his ground, and he knows when to get the hell out of there. Simply put, Mike is smart, outrageously creative, and a dedicated journalist. He is a loyal friend. He's a loving husband to Anne and a proud father to Maria and Kyle. And when it comes to his career, he certainly did do it right. Now let's take a glimpse at his more than 40-year span in the news business. Mike Klingele is a 43-year veteran news photographer and editor. Mike grew up in suburban Glen Ellen and graduated high school in 1975. His graduation present? A Super 8 film camera. And before he knew it, he was on his path, which began at Illinois State University. He was a perfect fit there for their student staff TV 10 news program. Then came his first job at News Center 31 in Peoria. A year and a half later, Mike made the move to the #1 rated news operation in Peoria. He honed his skills in Peoria alongside some other notable news rookies, Chicago Bears chairman George McCaskey, Adlai Stevenson IV, and Chicago political reporter Marianne Bergerson Ahern. 3.5 years later, in 1985, Mike was hired for his dream job at WBBM TV in Chicago. He started as an editor, and in an edit bay is where he met his bride-to-be, fellow editor Ann Barzak. A few months later, he won his first Emmy for photography, shooting, and editing a series of focus reports with Bill Curtis.
2 years of little rain has turned what once was their very large pond into a very large puddle. It's a very critical time.
In 1989, Mike traveled to Poland with reporter Jim Avalos.
Poland said its thanks to Solidarity and to its leader, Lech Walesa. 50,000 Poles came to the Lenin shipyards in Gdansk today.
In 1995, Mike traveled to Israel with chief correspondent Jay Levine and producer Marta LeBeau to cover Cardinal Bernardine's interfaith trip to the Holy Land.
This trip has had many highlights, but no single event has been more eagerly anticipated than the meeting between Cardinal Bernardine and Palestinian Authority President Yasser Arafat.
After the fall of the Berlin Wall, Mike traveled to Germany with reporter Walter Jacobson to examine the newly resurgent white supremacy movement.
We tracked Arnold Freem to his flat in a rundown section of Berlin.
He covered breaking news.
Versace obviously heard, but apparently never saw his attacker.
Governor, anything you'd like to say?
Governor for CNN. Thank you.
We're live at the corner of 22nd and Michigan, where things are starting to get a little out of hand.
He covered the Space Shuttle Discovery launch with anchor Lester Holt.
The shuttle made its triumphant liftoff just after 10:30 this morning, Chicago time.
And Pope John Paul II's World Youth Day.
And at the first sight of the white Pope-mobile, they exploded.
Medical reports with Marianne Childers.
After anesthetic drops are placed in the eye, a surgeon cuts a flap in the cornea. Next, a laser beam reshapes the tissue to sharpen vision.
There were feature stories, too.
Independent business machines, good morning. All the keys were frozen. Nothing would move on it. We're going to put this one back to life.
All right, here we go.
There, you got it.
All right. Yes!
Father John Mulder. He is a world-class jazz musician.
I think this band has always been about undefining ourselves as opposed to defining ourselves.
At 85, Buddy Guy still plays from his soul. But at his blues club,
in his downtime.
You would consider yourself shy?
Until I get a shot of cognac.
Mike covered a wide range of sports, beginning with the Super Bowl champion Bears, training camp in Platteville, Wisconsin with legendary sports reporter Jeannie Morris.
Later in practice, Jim did experience some soreness. There's no report that it is serious.
He also worked sideline camera for CBS Sports regional NFL games and was front and center during the infamous Fog Bowl for WBBM. He covered Mike Ditka's Hall of Fame induction with Johnny Morris, the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville, France with Corey McFerrin, Michael Jordan's attempt at baseball.
One of his early challenges today was wading through all the cameras.
How do you think you hit today? I hit it. I'm learning, still learning.
Super Bowl 21 in Pasadena, California, the Special Olympics in Dublin, Ireland, motorcycle cam for the Chicago Marathon. He covered national political conventions in 1992, 96, 2004, and 2008 with reporters Mike Flannery and Antonio Mora. In 1996, Mike traveled with President Clinton on the 21st Century Express with Rob Stafford. The 2000 presidential election recount in Tallahassee, Florida with John Davis. And he also worked on award-winning investigations.
There's a lot of drug dealing?
Yeah.
Intersecting on Ferdinand, lifelongers, drive-throughers, dope pushers, suburban snack addicts, and children. Lots of children.
Here in Chicago and the suburbs, we heard amazing claims pitched to vulnerable patients in seminars we attended with a hidden camera.
I can jump up and down, and on an x-ray, I have an ankle joint again on the right-hand side where before I didn't have one.
That would be miraculous.
Candace, can you just stop and talk a minute and explain to us why did you do all of those different scans?
I was undressing in my bedroom.
It was a cold February night, and Ann Jeanette Young, a social worker, had just finished her shift at the hospital.
It happened so fast, I didn't have time to put on clothes.
And suddenly, she found herself frozen in fear. These are just some of the amazing stories and unforgettable images edited and photographed by photojournalist Mike Klingele. Klingele's work has earned him broadcast journalism's most prestigious awards, including the Peabody, DuPont, a National Emmy, and multiple Edward R. Murrows.
It is an honor and a privilege to work with this talented team of photojournalists. We have a very difficult job which has changed dramatically from the start of my career. Today we shoot, edit, produce, make graphics, and have incredible patience. And the job is physically and mentally demanding. At the end of the day, it comes down to us to hit that deadline, and we do it well day in and day out. I am deeply humbled to be inducted into Chicago's Silver Circle. My congratulations to the other honorees this evening. It's an incredible thrill to be associated with all of the Silver Circle honorees, many of whom I have had the privilege to work with. My career has been an incredible journey, and I feel truly blessed to have spent the last 38 years working with such an amazing team at WBBM TV. It's been a hell of a ride. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much. Thank you.
After a break, we honor two television greats who left us much too soon, Bill Hamilton and Donald Farnham Sr.
It just sounded like someone was running. He said, "Don't hang up."
You think the attacker was waiting in the woods?
To look in the face of an innocent boy.
The world needed this shock. They needed it.
Soldier Field is a dump.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
It's very obvious that these capsules were tampered with.
I had nothing to do with it.
Hey, it's me. Your vacation. We need to have a talk. Well, actually, an intervention. A hike in the desert. Really? Oh, this isn't a vacation. It's a nightmare. I need excitement, fire, spectacle. I need to be wined, dined, and ziplined. I need 18 holes in the morning and a show at night. You keep saying you need a vacation, but I have needs too, you know. And I need Branson.
Tonight, we now take a moment to honor three very talented television professionals who are unfortunately no longer with us. We begin with a pioneering television announcer and host, a friendly face and voice on all major Chicago television stations for more than 60 years. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a brief look at the remarkable career of Bill Hamilton.
Pioneering Chicago television announcer and program host Bill Hamilton was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, where he studied broadcasting in college. As a young announcer at KMBC, he was coached by John Cameron Swayze, before Swayze went on to network news fame. After moving to the Windy City, Bill became the first regularly scheduled Chicago TV newscaster on WBKB, now WLS-TV, when Chicago had fewer than 500 TV sets in use. On WENR, now WLS, he delivered the first commercially sponsored newscast in Chicago. Bill's TV weather segments were delivered behind a glass-paneled map where he had to draw the information backward to have it show up correctly on camera. His weather forecasts made excellent use of his meteorology studies from his pilot training. In 1944, he became the morning and evening newscaster for the Fair Store. Bill used an offer of free TV airtime on Friday evenings to innovate creative advertising strategies for live commercials.
Okay, very good. Stand by.
We merchandise, for example, manufacturers' magazine advertising. For instance, in this Life magazine, RCA Whirlpool you'll find. We also tie in our own newspaper ads and our radio and outdoor advertising. And certainly all of our promotional plans get the full treatment on television. To the amazement of many in retailing, at Polk City we consider television the easiest of all media to use. And that's where I come in.
Bill's news coverage included the 1952 coronation of Britain's Queen Elizabeth II. And in the mid-50s, he produced an amateur hour talent program for Polk Brothers, spotlighting local talent. Bill hosted auditions with guest judges awarding the winner live on air. Bill also hosted and produced an array of TV programs, including Flight Plan.
Polk Brothers presents Flight Plan, an informative program on the activities of Civil Air Patrol and aviation.
A celebrity talk show called Chat, and a musical entertainment program, The Melody 5. Bill appeared on all 5 major TV stations in Chicago, and at times, all in one day. He also served as the announcer for WTTW auctions.
This is the $10,000 Sony creation that turned TV from technology into an art. Complete with wireless remote control, it opens the tambour portals to a 30-inch screen, the largest in the world. A Sony Trinitron tube even won an Emmy Award. Complete with its matching accessory stand and remote control, it's valued at $10,000 and donated with the best wishes of all your Polk Brothers famous TV departments. It's item number 3316.
It's beautiful, Grandpa.
Isn't it, though?
His work included countless professional voiceover narrations throughout Chicago, including those for the Museum of Science and Industry exhibits. Bill Hamilton might be most remembered for the 2 to 5 minute live night owl spots he wrote, produced, and performed during the nightly movie sponsored by Polk Brothers. He had a 37-year relationship with Polk Brothers as their commercial spokesman and event host. He also wrote and produced Polk's last and most prized promotion, focusing on efforts to celebrate the Statue of Liberty on its centennial.
It's one part of a program developed by Polk Brothers. They have joined in the celebration of the 100th anniversary of the dedication of the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor. Polk Brothers did this by offering their customers the opportunity to own a magnificent replica of Lady Liberty standing triumphantly on her pedestal.
Bill was also the voice of Jewel Food commercials and MC for 52 years, and a founding member of the Museum of Broadcast Communications. And in his spare time, he even invented a special humidifier to help broadcasters and announcers deal with the occupational hazard they face with dry throat. For over 60 years, he was an innovator and vital part of the local media landscape. And tonight, the Silver Circle honors Chicago broadcast pioneer, Bill Hamilton.
And accepting the honor for Bill Hamilton is his daughter, Diana Schoenberg.
He was very shy about accolades because his reward was in doing a really good job of producing quality programming and entertainment. So on tonight, on this occasion, he would be greatly humbled and gratified to know that he is being recognized along with the other honorees. And on behalf of Bill Hamilton, I would like to thank the Academy for awarding him this, and also Diana Borey, Jim Dish, Rich Zayagua, and all of the pioneers that came beforehand that helped set the stage and bring the foundation to television the way we see television today, because it's just magnificent. Thank you to the Academy, and congratulations to all of the awardees tonight. Thank you.
Next, we are proud to honor gifted television cameraman Donald Farnham Sr. He traveled the world for more than 40 years, covering Olympics, inaugurations, space launches, and other historic events for ABC Sports and ABC News. Reporter Janet Davies, a 2013 Silver Circle inductee herself, teamed up with Don on several production adventures, and she now brings us Don's story.
Donald R. Farnham Sr. was born in 1925 in Syracuse, the fifth of 8 children raised in various towns in central New York State. Following high school, Don enlisted in the United States Marines. 5 Farnham brothers served in the armed forces during World War II. All but one of them survived combat. One of Don's most harrowing days came on D-Day on the tiny Pacific island of Iwo Jima. More than a half-century later, reporter Paul Meinke would relive the battle with Don himself.
He was just a kid when the Marines landed on Iwo. His mission, forward observation.
In my 5-man forward observer team, 3 were killed and 1 was wounded. And I didn't get a scratch. So
you're a lucky man.
Somebody up there was looking over me.
Following his military service, Don was among the first hired by the American Broadcasting Company when it signed on the air in 1948. His amazing career at ABC would span 45 years. Don witnessed and recorded countless historic moments, from the recovery of astronaut John Glenn and his space capsule from the North Atlantic to President Nixon's historic visit to China. And much of Don's career was spent covering sports.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
Don was the first technical director for ABC's landmark series, Wide World of Sports. He was behind the camera for scores of Monday night football and baseball games. He covered the Winter Olympics in 1980 in Lake Placid, New York. You believe in miracles? Yes! And in 1984, operated camera for both the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles and the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. Beyond sports, Don had an unquenchable thirst for travel stories. I was blessed to have him as my camera person on stories that took us to many far-off destinations, including Africa, where we went on a safari that I will never forget.
He got off our truck to shoot back at it, a shot of me, when I noticed there were 3 lions between the truck and him. He was with the audio guy who captured a picture of this, but he calmly got the shot, calmly walked way around and got back on the truck. I don't know how he did it.
That wasn't the only time I feared for Don's safety. For instance, we had a show called Mysteries of the Great Lakes.
We were in a helicopter, a Coast Guard helicopter. He was leaning, all the way out, shooting Lake Superior where the Edmund Fitzgerald went down. I was terrified. I was holding onto his pants. When he got back in and we landed, he got the shot, but he turned to me and he said, if I'd fallen out, they would have found me without my pants. That wasn't good, Janet.
Don cared deeply about his co-workers and served for many years as union steward. He was a devoted family man to his wife, Anne, and their 6 children. He was a founding member of the Riverside Cable Commission, a longtime member of the Lions Club, and a volunteer driver for People Care, taking elderly residents to their medical appointments. And Don was a true animal lover, caring for countless dogs and cats, most of them rescues. Donald Farnham Sr. died in 2020 at the age of 94. His skill, leadership, and class will long be cherished by family, friends, and colleagues.
Don was a joy to be on a shoot with. He was dependable, he was funny, he was easygoing. Nothing got by his lens. Don really deserves this Silver Circle, and I have always been honored to call him my friend and my colleague.
Don Farnham was always a steady presence behind the camera, either in the field or in the studio. He was proud of what he did, proud of the people he worked with. He was a real team player, which may have its origins in his military service, for Don was a Marine in World War II on Iwo Jima. He was one of the lucky ones to survive. He was forever proud of his military service, as we are of him.
And now accepting the honor for Donald Farnham is his grandson and third-generation ABC7 employee, Ryan Farnham.
My grandfather had an extraordinary career, and it wasn't just because he was good at what he did, but it was because he loved what he did and he loved the people that he worked with. He was just an extraordinary human being, and if I could share some advice that he gave me, it certainly helped in my 20 years in the business. It wasn't how to shoot a presidential interview. It wasn't how to TD Monday Night Football. He just said, Rye, be nice to everybody. I said, be nice to everybody. And that was how he is. I know, there's plenty of you here tonight who got to experience his kindness and generosity firsthand. And, that's just how he lived his life. He was just awesome. So I know he would very humbly accept this award, and he would want to thank everyone, all of our fellow engineers, technicians, stagehands, directors, writers, producers, talent, everybody. He knew it took a great team to make great television, and he loved being part of that team. So, thank you.
Stick around. You're about to see legendary baseball footage as we induct sports announcer Vince Lloyd into the Silver Circle.
Hey, it's me, your vacation. If you want me to be great, I need more than this. What I really need is Branson. This is Branson. Coasters, live shows, excitement. This is not Branson. Branson! Not Branson. Branson. Not Branson. Branson. Not Branson. Ooh, definitely Branson. Not even close to Branson. Ugh. Give me what I need, and I'll be the best vacation you've ever had.
Holy mackerel! Our final posthumous honoree is a man who made that phrase his hallmark, a man whose voice was the soundtrack of summer for many Chicagoans, doing play-by-play for the Chicago Cubs on both WGN television and radio for more than 3 decades. Let's now celebrate the career of Vince Lloyd.
Vince Lloyd Scaff was born and raised in Beersford, South Dakota, the son of Lebanese immigrants who owned a family bakery. He attended Yankton College, where he played football, met his future wife Miriam, and showed off his acting chops in local theater. Vince's broadcast career took him from KTRI Radio in Sioux City, Iowa, to WJBC in Bloomington, Illinois, and then to WMBD in Peoria, before serving with the U.S. Marines in World War II. Now known simply as Vince Lloyd, his big break came in 1949 when he joined WGN, spending the next 38 years on both television and radio. One of his defining moments was his impromptu pregame television interview with President John Kennedy on opening day in 1961 at Washington's Griffith Stadium.
Just for a moment, Mr. President, I'd like to have you talk a little bit about the physical education plan that your administration is backing. We feel very strongly about it, of course, back in Chicago.
Well, we have Bud Wilkinson, who's the coach at the University of Oklahoma, who is working now. I must say that I feel it important that we get not be a nation just of spectators, even though that's what we are today, but also a nation of participants.
Vince partnered with Jack Brookhouse on Cubs and White Sox telecasts from 1954 to 1964. During spring training in 1965, Cubs radio play-by-play man Jack Quinlan died in a car accident. Vince moved from television to radio and enjoyed a 23-year partnership with Lou Boudreau. The legendary banter between Vince and Lou extended from the radio booth to wherever it was needed, including selling tickets to Cubs games.
Hi, Vince Lloyd.
And Lou Boudreau.
With season's greetings.
This season, why not put the Cubs in someone's stocking?
Well, Lou, Kingman's never going to fit in there.
No, but this will. A Cubs Christmas gift certificate.
Hey, and how about giving your best girl?
There's a beautiful catch by Bill Buckner.
And it costs just $6.50 for a box seat, $5 for reserved grandstand.
And why not treat the kids, too?
Another stolen base by Ivan de Jesus.
Known as the voice for all seasons, Vince's expertise went well beyond baseball, tackling sports from football to basketball, from professional wrestling to even high school swimming and diving.
Well, congratulations again, Bill. Your time wasn't quite as fast as last night's, but I think that's very understandable because of the 2 false starts. I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Yeah, they got me tired, and, well, it gets you off. You're not quite ready.
You had to be very, very careful that you didn't have another false start, or that would have been it.
Yes, that's true.
Vince was known for his distinctive baritone voice, his signature holy mackerel home run call, and for the colorful variety of sports coats he wore on WGN TV newscasts.
The baseballs were flying out of Wrigley Field today as the Cubs staged another miracle rally and beat the St. Louis Cardinals 16-12. Want some heroes? We've got several.
Why is it important that we honor Vince Lloyd? How important was he to Chicago broadcasting and his television work? It's very simple, one word: versatility. Maybe another word: endurance. All of Vinny's decades produced quality work in a variety of venues and on a variety of sports topics, whether he was anchoring, in the field, play-by-play, other stuff, interviews, of course. He did a great job. That's why Vince Lloyd is so important to the rich broadcast history of Chicagoland and the Midwest.
No video about Vince Lloyd would be complete without his interview with Don Cardwell after the pitcher no-hit the Cardinals in his Cubs debut.
Don, we know that you've got that terrific fastball. Did you throw anything much besides that today?
I threw a few curveballs and a few changeups.
Do you think you've ever been sharper?
Well, a few times.
But you had Lady Luck with you, too.
I did, and I had the Lord with me, too. He was on my side today. Hey, let me go. I'm going to get hurt in here.
Can we get some ushers here and help him out?
It's an interview you would never see in today's age of heightened security, as Vince and Don were engulfed by enthusiastic fans. Vince retired in 1987, but returned to Wrigley Field 7 years later. It was the 80th anniversary of the ballpark, and Vince talked about what he liked best about calling games at Wrigley.
The reaction of the crowd to the game itself, typical Cubs crowd, I think. They are in the game.
I don't know how many other ballparks can make that claim, but it seems to me that it's always been true here. They are in the ball game all the time, and it's great.
Vince died in 2003, and in May of 2017, a week before what would have been his 100th birthday, he was enshrined in WGN's Walk of Fame, along with his longtime colleagues Lou Boudreau and sports producer Jack Rosenberg. And tonight, we are proud to induct Vince Lloyd into the Television Academy's Silver Circle.
And here tonight to accept on behalf of Vince Lloyd are his granddaughters, Jackie Kaminsky and Kelly Pasola, and his grandnephew, Richard Williams.
He is known as the voice for all seasons and has been inducted into the Illinois Hall of Fame, the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame, and the WGN Walk of Fame. But tonight, we recognize him for his overall talent and dedication to the profession he loved. Vince would be proud to join this special group of peers and fellow broadcasters in the Midwest chapter of the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. He loves sharing his knowledge and experience with new members in the profession. We are deeply grateful to George Castle for his efforts in assuring Vince's legacy is remembered. Vince's love for children showed through his work as president of the Chicago Boys and Girls Club and his involvement with his Lebanese friend Danny Thomas in establishing St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. On behalf of the Lloyd and Scalf family, we thank you for the special Silver Circle Award and the induction into the Chicago National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Vince's memory will live forever through his contributions to the broadcasting industry and for his love of children. Thank you.
During this year's Silver Circle presentation, the Chicago Midwest chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences presented its High School Production Awards. The chapter's Director of Educational Initiatives, Dan Magner, announced 20 winners of Crystal Pillar Awards, going to the best entries in several categories. And the president of the TV Academy's Scholarship Foundation, Carol Cartwright, presented scholarships to 3 high school students. Christopher Gloff attends Crown Point High School and will attend Loyola University Chicago. He receives the Joel Weissman Scholarship. Sahil Mittal from Barrington High School is the recipient of the Stephen Jennings Memorial Scholarship. He will attend the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. And the Branson Silver Dollar City Scholarship goes to Sophia Petrov of Mattia Valley High School. She plans to attend the University of Missouri. Over the years, the TV Academy has presented scholarships totaling more than $640,000. Congratulations to this year's scholarship recipients and Crystal Pillar Award winners. Coming up next, we honor the careers of Chicago storyteller Jay Shefsky and program producer Marlaine Selip.
My passion for politics goes back to probably being a teenager. Our kitchen table was always a discussion, perhaps maybe more of a debate. I've been on the political beat for years, working to hold leaders accountable. Think of all the decisions that are made by those who are elected, whether it's your tax bill, whether it's COVID, whether it's schools. Politics affects every day of your life.
Up next to honor this evening, Jay Shefsky. Jay is a highly regarded documentarian, producer, and program host whose work on WTTW delves into the quirky corners and characters of Chicago, past and present, capturing the very spirit of the city. Presenting Jay is his friend and colleague, WTTW News Director Jay Smith.
Jay has always been a storyteller, and in that vein, I think the best comparison I can make to Jay is one of his heroes, Studs Terkel. In fact, Jay's first documentary was called Just Plain Hardworking. Could have easily been the title of one of Studs' books. The film focuses on the dignity of everyday people, which would become a theme of Jay's work. Now, we put together a small sampling of Jay's work Whether he's talking to the owner of an apple orchard or the 102-year-old piano player you'll meet in a moment, his affection for people is infectious. His interest makes you interested.
Dorothy played pop, classical, jazz, and humorous songs, like The Drinking Man's Diet.
For breakfast, there's cornflakes and vodka, but cornflakes have carbohydrates, so I don't eat those fattening cornflakes. I eat the vodka straight.
Jay Shefsky has a way of connecting with people. It might be someone with a great story to tell or an unusual passion.
That's where I started, way in the corner here.
They feel comfortable with him and trust that he'll treat them with respect, curiosity, and affection.
I don't want to be too personal, but are there any tattoos we can't see?
No, there aren't. I told somebody I only get them in places that can be shown in polite society. And a friend of mine said, "Who do you know in polite society?"
His subjects are not celebrities or politicians, though now and then a familiar face does show up.
This represents about 6 hours of work since we last saw.
By the time he retired in 2020, Jay Shefsky had spent nearly half of his 34 years at WTTW making hundreds of human interest feature stories for Chicago Tonight. These works became the backbone of his own show, Jay's Chicago, hosted by the man himself.
We all need mentors. And in the next half hour, 4 stories of the remarkable power that a mentor can have.
He started his career at WTTW in 1986 with little experience and a dream to tell real human stories. After assisting some of WTTW's best documentary producers, he went on to make 9 documentaries himself. Many were part of the WTTW Journal and Chicago Matters series, and Jay found ways to talk about big issues at a human level.
I also got to know 6 hospice patients and their families.
His documentary, To Live Until I Die, aired locally and then nationally on PBS. And he made A Justice That Heals, a story of forgiveness and reconciliation after a murder.
We would probably never have heard of this story in the first place had it not been for the efforts of television producer Jay Shefsky.
A version of this also aired on ABC's Nightline.
I really hate to move, I knew that.
He introduced us to public housing residents facing an uncertain future as their homes began to come down.
Now, I'm part of a group of parents in Logan Square who try to get more parents involved.
And parents who became neighborhood activists when they got engaged in their children's education. And there were history documentaries, including the tragic story of Chicago photographer and preservationist Richard Nickel.
Richard Nickel was 43 when he died. He had devoted the last 20 years of his life to photographing and saving the buildings of architect Louis Sullivan. Now he had met his end in one of Sullivan's greatest works.
A detailed account of the notorious murderers Leopold and Loeb. And Angels Too Soon, about the 1958 fire at Our Lady of the Angels school that killed 92 students and 3 nuns.
Okay.
Elsa Harris has been playing gospel music a long time.
He also shined a light on all kinds of great local musicians. Through all of his work, he's shared his enthusiasm for the people of Chicago, like this man.
I think it's a pretty good bet that this is the only kosher fish market in the country with a Mexican-American owner.
Or this urban farmer.
I hate to even ask this, but will you eventually eat them?
No.
Okay.
No, we won't ever eat these guys. These are like our pets.
But they will eat my vest.
Yes, they will eat you.
He even had a friendly close encounter with a praying mantis. His fondness for his subjects always shines through. Thanks, Jay, for sharing them all with us.
If pounds you would burn off, then turn on your Smirnoff and drink, drink, drink.
For Chicago Tonight, this is Jay Shefsky. I was truly fortunate to have cheerleaders for parents. They believed in me and they took great pride in seeing their boys work on television. We lost my dad in 2020 and my mom just 2 months ago. They were around for my retirement party, and oh, would they have loved to be here tonight. About 15 or 20 years ago, before I was on camera, my mom said to me, "Jay, I don't understand something. You do all the research, you do the interviews, you write the script, you produce the whole thing, whatever that means, and then you hand the script to somebody else to read? Why do you do that?" I said, "Mom, you don't understand. This is television. I'm the producer. They're the talent. This is how it works." And she said, "No, I don't accept that." She said, "You have a good voice. You could do the narration. You could even be on television." So, thanks, Mom. And thanks to you all.
Our next honoree was a producer for The Phil Donahue Show before becoming a highly successful television and multimedia executive who launched countless TV productions, including Windy City Live. She is Marlaine Selip, and here to present Marlaine is Windy City Live's dynamic duo, Val Warner and Ryan Cheverini.
Marlaine, you really are the true definition of a trailblazer. You excelled at a time in this business when there were limited opportunities for women. You excelled at a time when this business was primarily men. And anyone who knows Marlaine knows she backs down to nobody.
Someone once said, "Be as fearless as the women whose stories you have applauded." Tonight, Marlaine, we applaud you for not only giving so many of us who worked with you on Windy City Live an opportunity, and for some of us a start, but for being the trailblazer in an industry that was not always kind to women. Take a look at your video.
Marlaine's television career started at WBBM TV here in Chicago, first as an intern working for the station's early morning talk show, then in other departments at Channel 2. But just down the hall was the nationally syndicated Phil Donahue Show. It didn't take long for Marlaine to be interested in The Donahue Show, and The Donahue Show to be interested in Marlaine. She joined the show as a fledgling producer, and the job was tailor-made to her fiery personality, her zest for the truth, and all things fun and exciting.
When our show began 20 years ago, we weren't sure we'd last 20 days. People said, "Where's the band?" They wanted to know where the couch was and the desk. We did not look like a talk show. The rap was that we were visually dull, so naturally we did what we could to fix that. Our motto became, "Call us anything, but don't call us boring." Sometimes we were funny, sometimes we were just plain silly. Occasionally we were outrageous. And more than occasionally, we enlightened. Sometimes we were sentimental. And sometimes some of our viewers thought we went too far. From male strippers to Chernobyl, The Donahue Show has been all over the lot and all over the world. Along the way, we've produced almost 5,000 hours of television, and we've met some of the most important and most interesting people on Earth.
During her career, Marlaine has worked with Montel Williams and John Walsh. She launched John and Lisa from Hollywood and The Jane Pauley Show, and produced pilots for Quincy Jones, Isaac Mizrahi, and Dan Aykroyd. But no one she worked with made her laugh harder than groundbreaking comic Joan Rivers.
The Japanese have come into our country, systematically taking over our businesses. I guarantee you, by the year 2000, there will be a Japanese in the White House. If you don't take control now, that's the point of energizing, stimulating your brain with power.
Do you date? In 2007, she returned to Chicago to run NBC's In the Loop with iVillage, starring Chicago's own Bill Rancic, Kim Coles, and Erica Vetrini. And it wasn't long before Chicago tugged at her sleeves again, this time to launch our own Windy City Live right here at ABC 7 and to fill the station's legacy local time period occupied for so long by the one and only Oprah Winfrey.
Well, well, doesn't this taste good?
Chicken dinner!
Yeah! Stir in the pot.
Right, stir in the pot.
No small task, Windy City Live quickly became #1 in Chicago, and the rest, as they say, is Chicago television history. Marlaine, you made your mark, and a grateful Chicago thanks you.
Phil Donahue. I have to tell you, my heart goes to Phil. It was my first job. It was a big job. I didn't think I deserved to be there, but I tried so hard to, do the job. He's a one-of-a-kind guy, a brilliant man, curious, with a strong social conscience. Working for Phil is like a master class on steroids. His audience was a town hall on things that mattered, like women's rights, civil rights, gay rights. He did that often, and he showed both sides. So it wasn't just, and it was a conversation. And when we look at the world as it now is, all of those issues are still the same, and they're out there and need to be addressed, but there's no show doing that.
In a moment, the Silver Circle zooms in on the career of anchor reporter Hosea Sanders.
Hey, it's me. Your vacation. We need to have a talk. Well, actually, an intervention. A hike in the desert. Really? Huh, this isn't a vacation. It's a nightmare. I need excitement, fire, spectacle. I need to be wined, dined, and ziplined. I need 18 holes in the morning and a show at night. You keep saying you need a vacation, but I have needs too, And I need Branson.
Our final honoree of the evening is someone I'm proud to call a friend. But a lot of people can say that because Hosea Sanders is a man who's never met a stranger. Hosea brings his charm and his storytelling abilities to ABC 7 viewers while using his broadcast platform to help those in need. Last year, Hosea helped induct reporter Roz Varon into the Silver Circle. And tonight, it's role reversal. So say hello to Roz Varon.
You have no idea how close Hosea was with his mom. And she would be bursting with pride knowing that Jose was getting this most prestigious award. I'm so proud of you, Jose, but mostly I'm proud to say that you're my friend. I love you. Now watch the video.
As a kid, Roz, I was one of those, I remember as a child having one of those little tape recorders and walking around and interviewing people.
From print to radio to his first TV job in Little Rock, Arkansas, that led to anchoring jobs at KDFW in Dallas and KCBS in LA.
I actually talked Jose into giving Chicago a chance. He was so used to the warm weather of Dallas and the Hollywood life of LA that he wasn't quite sold on coming to the Midwest. You're welcome.
So I walked in there and I saw all these people I knew. You know, there was Russ Ewing, there was Bob Petty, Charles Thomas, Harry Porterfield, everybody that I knew, these black guys. And I'm saying, wait a minute, this is okay.
ABC 7 in the morning.
They help me get ready every day.
It wakes me up.
I like Hosea Sanders.
Big happy guy.
Nice personality. He's a very compassionate person.
Jose was such a good sport on the morning show with us. Between Tracy, Roz, and me, we had 7 babies during our time on the morning show together. Our husbands had to just deal with us, but Jose had all 3 of us every day.
So it was my job really to ask these celebrities to come in and be here at 6 a.m. Not easy. And I think a lot of the reason why our segments worked is because Jose was so welcoming.
I would always try to get you guys and like not tell you what I was doing, and so I would create these jib jabs. And I remember the first one I did it, and like it was all your heads and you're bouncing around, you know, and the jib jab music. And Jose's like, "Oh man, you got me so good, you got me so good," and he would just razz me over and over again, and then which of course inspired me to try to do it again.
Wilson, our executive producer who was working with us at the time, knew I could not stand to dance. I'm not a dancer. So one time we had to dance, there was some kind of thing in the Bud Billiken, and somebody got me off the float, and so they shot it. He ran it, and ran it, and ran it, and ran it.
When you talk to him, he is so focused on what you're saying. He is looking into your eyes. And I learned this from him because when we worked together, I would just look into his eyes, so much so that one day he showed up with a shaved head. I barely even noticed.
The thing about Jose is he makes everyone who sits next to him in that anchor desk chair even better than they were before.
My only regret is that I have not gotten a chance to anchor with you. I'm sitting here on the anchor desk right now. There's a seat right there, and it's waiting for you to come fill in with me one day.
Ooh, I'm not ready for this.
He went to a school. The kids are playing and doing different things with him.
Sometimes what?
Sometimes I like chilling by myself.
I know, you don't want me to mess with you, huh?
And he was just so easygoing. He didn't mind having fun with himself on air.
He loved my meatballs. He loved my meatballs so much that every time I'd have a party, if he couldn't make it, he's like, "Do you have any meatballs left?"
I'm that person, I'd be in the corner with the dogs as opposed to at the party, you know. I love dogs, and you knew that. You'd get your dog. I'm not getting a dog. I'm a dog person now.
When the dog show would be on, we would be on the phone with each other. And we'd be on the phone with each other for hours watching the dog show.
You know, normally when we host the Better Business Bureau Torch Awards for Marketplace Ethics, it's usually not breaking news.
Now we have some breaking news for you. You know, award presentations are a big deal. The only problem is, well, check this out. Oops.
May I suggest who's ever handing him the Silver Circle Award tonight to please be very careful.
Okay, we have to talk about Emmys. How many do you have?
I think it's 18. I think. Who's counting?
There isn't anything about Jose, I think, that would surprise people. I think what you see is what you get. He's just an honest, good, decent person, and in today's world with everything going on, I think that's the strongest thing you can say about somebody.
He's very shy, and he's not full of himself. He's just a humble guy.
One thing I've just always appreciated about Jose is the way he connects with the community, right? You can't go anywhere with Jose without being stopped multiple times. Whether you're walking on the street with him, at a community event, it's apparent how much people love Jose.
Cancer the first time, you know, it's like you feel mortality, but I had a whole, not just a village, I mean, it's like a whole territory lifted me up. When people in Chicago love you, they love you hard.
Welcome back, Jose.
Welcome back, Jose. We love you.
They surround you, they protect you, they embrace you, and they love you.
Jose, congratulations on the Silver Circle Award. It's so well deserved. Thank you for everything you do for the station. You're a big part of our success.
I can't think of anyone more deserving and more committed to Chicago and the communities surrounding it. So, welcome to the club, Jose.
God is going to continue to bless you. You've got 25 more years. Silver, golden, all those anniversaries are ahead of you, Jose.
I was literally in awe of you. And I mean like fangirl in awe of you. I still am. And today, I am as proud to call you colleague as I am grateful to call you friend.
Jose, congratulations on your induction into the Silver Circle. Such a great honor, and wow, you've really given Chicago all of you. I love it.
Jose, my dear friend, congratulations. There is no one more deserving of this honor.
Yep, we know how much you mean to the viewers of Chicago and to everyone at ABC 7.
So from all of us at ABC News, congratulations on being inducted into the Silver Circle.
So it is all I ever really wanted to do. Work that uplifts my communities, my people, all the assorted villages. I'm proud that I've been able to show up in places where a lot of news people haven't gone before, haven't often gone, to talk to people who aren't often heard. Granted, I didn't always plan to go to some of those places and hear some of those things, but hey, this is Chicago, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And speaking of that, I'm so glad to have so many of my friends here tonight. I'm glad I have a chance to say thank you in person for all of the encouragement, the support, professionally, emotionally, and even quite literally physically. That has been a real blessing for me. It may seem like a cliche, but I do want to express my extreme and utmost appreciation to the Academy for this most highly coveted honor. It is a real highlight for me in my life. But above all, I am grateful for having the chance to give all the glory to those who, I hope, are looking down and saying, "Well done, my son. I'm truly proud of you." So thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for seeing me, Chicago.
Thanks for joining us as 9 outstanding television professionals join the Television Academy's prestigious Silver Circle. Congratulations to all the honorees.